talk about problems that face the hunter, first of all, so you get a feel, at least I understand the problems I faced when I would run around. How many of you, when you're out in the woods and you find a great big freshly ripped open scrape, get excited? I know I do, especially if I find a scrape site, you know. So we're going to put ourselves some scrapes here on the board. We're going to use 3 of them. And let's just imagine that there's some brush and stuff. And we are going to go ahead and go with a southwest wind on this one. And let's just say occasionally it's kicking south at the same time. Generally speaking, let's begin to educate you with the wind. If the weatherman tells you the wind is going to be southwest at 5 to 10, there's generally going to be some south and some southeast kicks, incorporating a pie like this of dangerous area that we want to pay attention to. But anyway, so as a hunter, he comes along, he finds the scrapes. Oh boy, you know, I want to hunt here. And the first thing that hunter's going to do when I talk to guys is they're going to want to set their stand here. Okay, they're setting downwind of the scrapes, all right, and they're setting within shooting range of the scrapes. And they're going to try to shoot this buck as he nonchalantly comes into the wind, into the scrapes to visit them, works them or whatever, and then goes merrily about his way. But the problem being is that is not what the big buck is going to do. And he is going to check the scrapes during daylight hours, at least he's going to attempt to, but his instincts and how he uses the wind and how he goes about approaching them scrapes is where most hunters go wrong. And it's where I went wrong for a long time until I figured it out. So this stand is grossly misplaced. And the reason why is because of the J-hook. And you are going to see a lot more of this J-hook. This J-hook is an ingrained, conditioned behavior that is totally instinctive, and the bucks do it automatically. And they do it when they come to food plots, they do it when they come to scrape sites, they do it when they come to bait stations, they do it when they come to their beds. And in this case, we're talking about scrapes. So, how would the big buck approach that scrape? Well, there's several different ways he could approach it. So I'm not going to give you the answer to how to kill him in this segment. I'm going to do that later. Right now I'm going to present you with a bunch of different problems that I am sure that you have run into so that you get the idea of how these big bucks are kicking your fanny out there. What's going to happen is if the big buck, let's just say we had precipitation, which is a good reason for a buck to want to freshen up his scrapes. Okay, generally I don't even scrape hunt unless I have precipitation. But in this particular case, the buck will enter into the wind, okay, but he will make a pass roughly as far as his smelling ability will allow him under the conditions. Now, how much slope there is to the ground, how much, if it's flat, how thick it is. A lot of things can play into this, but regardless of that, and especially if he cannot see what's in there, he's not going to just come walking in there blindly. He knows he's left his sign there. And he's going to be very leery of approaching that without checking it first. So what's he going to do? He's going to pass downwind right here. Whoops, what happened? This guy just got hit. He just got caught sitting over the scrape. So now if there was a buck coming to that scrape, he's not coming to it anymore. So let's take this guy out of the picture. Okay? Now the guy's not there. The buck comes along in here. As he gets downwind of this scrape and he begins to smell the activity at this scrape, he could very possibly leave a rub. This trail will be very faint from diversified use. In other words, it's not a trail being used by all the other deer. There are going to be very pronounced trails coming to the scrape, possibly from all directions. And a hunter may try to choose one of those trails as well. But that is not the trail that the pressured trophy big buck is going to use, because he did not get old and survive coming to scrapes over and over again by doing them incorrectly. Once he passes this parallel line right here, going here with the south wind, and this line here going this way, once he's past that, he has now successfully scent checked the scrapes from as far away as his nose can do it, and it will vary. Generally, it's about 75 yards away, but it could be as close as 50. It might be as far away as 150. I've seen it vary. It just depends on how good they can smell. Once he passes by the scrapes and has now successfully scent checked the scrapes, he's going to do the J hook. And that's where he hooks like this, and now he comes walking directly into the scrapes. No danger can be in that area anywhere around this scrape without that buck picking it up. And he's going to know it. He's going to be able to pick it up with his nose. I might add that whenever I pinpoint this trail and high ground accompanies it, it's even better. Because if he can see the scrape and smell it, it helps to make him feel more comfortable. But I guarantee you that 9 out of 10 pressured big bucks in Michigan are going to use this approach when coming to the scrape. They're not going to just walk into it blindly. And if you are expecting that, then you're expecting an awful lot. And I doubt very seriously if you're going to shoot the buck that made these scrapes. Thank you for listening to that segment.